This is Talk is Sheep, the official podcast of the Wild Sheep Society of BC, brought to you by Sitka Gear. Come along as we bring conversations that matter to you into the high alpine. This episode is sponsored by our conservation partner, Frontiersman Gear. Thank you, Sitka Gear and Frontiersman Gear, for investing in healthy wildlife and sustainable ecosystems. Ladies and gentlemen, back in the podcast studio with two fucking legends. Absolute honor and privilege to have Tanner Dannish, Nolan Osborne, the Frontiersman Gear crew on, doing the heavy lifting for conservation and a million other things here in British Columbia. Gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. Good to see you both.
Thanks for having us on. Great to be back on. It's been a while.
Thank you.
So you guys disappear for literally 3 or 4 months of the year, and you're slowly making your way back. And I know you come back to reality, and there's a bunch of stuff going on. So maybe let's just start off with catching up on the season. And Nolan, I know you got some pretty big stuff going on there. So why don't you kick things off? You got sounds like maybe a new baby, and
I was wondering if you could hear that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Love it. And let's catch up on the guide season, what's going on, and then I want to really dive into what's going on with Frontiersman Gear and some of the cool things we got going on this year.
Yeah, I had a great guiding season. I'd say they're all usually pretty good, and I feel like now the highs and lows of it kind of sort of blend together over time. And you kind of find that like medium point, like they're all like, you're going to have some big moments, and whether it's good things or bad things can always happen, but usually the constants, like I'd say pretty level season to season. But I had a really good year. I got to do 4 sheep hunts, which I don't usually get to do. Got three rams there. The first one was a bust, but I saw a bunch of sheep and hunted some new country in there on that first one for myself. And kind of pushed into a little bit more exploratory stuff, and just nothing with age. So, I mean, anyone who's listening that's sheep hunted knows that that's sometimes part of the game, even when you know the area or know your areas or generally what you'd expect or whatever else. And I just couldn't quite grasp where the old ones were hiding, and I'm sure they're in there because there's enough young ones. There's got to be, but that first hunt was a tough one. And then, from there I had actually a couple of repeat clients. A guy that I'd guided in 2022, and we had a good time sheep hunting together this year, and ended up getting a nice 9-year-old ram for him. Ended up backpacking in the end. Bombed around a bunch on horses, and that didn't work out, so we moved, kind of shifted plans, and then went off backpacking, and we were able to get that done pretty quick in that case. And it's just, it's all part of you just don't know, right? Like, you go into a good area and it could be done in 2 days, and it could be done in 12 days or 14 days or God forbid 21 days, I think I had once. So it was nice. Like, last year was the season for me of like really long sheep hunts. I think we got one ram on, it was like day 21 or 22 or something like that. I don't remember. And then the second hunt I think we got one on the 17th day. So they're not supposed to be that long. They're supposed to be like 10, 12 day hunts. This year was great. And then had my third sheep hunt. Had a client who's actually looking for a big ram or a bigger ram. He was looking for something kind of, in the low to mid 160s, which was a lot of fun. Like, I didn't have a client on the back end of that hunt, and I knew he had extra time. He'd killed a ram with us in 2021 and just really enjoyed it and wanted to come back and sort of set a little bit more of a limit for himself, just so that the hunt didn't end quickly, basically, to give himself a reason to come back, kind of a thing. So we covered a ton of ground, and I actually looked into some places that I've never sheep hunted before, kind of burned through them. We spent a bunch of time in country that I wasn't really familiar with, and it was a pretty big maybe, and we turned up actually rams in that country, which is cool because it's stuff that we haven't seen sheep in probably close to a decade. or rams at least in there. So yeah, had a ton of fun on that, and I sort of knew of a ram that would fit the bill that we might find if it was still alive, and that's the ram we ended up taking. And yeah, it was just a beautiful, like 40-inch 9-year-old, really sort of your classic tipped out, flared, gorgeous ram. Um, and yeah, had a bit of luck and a bit of skill involved in the stock and the spot and everything on that one, and wicked weather too. Like, just we had this streak, it was probably throughout all the north, but we had this streak from, I want to say, like the 20th of August until the 9th of September, where it was like 20 to 25 degrees every day, just constant bluebird skies. Unbelievable. Sucked for everyone else. Like, Tanner was in the outfit at the same time, and I think you were elk hunting. So for anyone who was like elk hunting or moose hunting, it was a kiss of death. Full moon at the same time, but I was sheep hunting still then, so it was like, this is just heaven. What are you talking? We don't ever get stretches like that. Yeah, and passed up another nice ram on that hunt too, and then ended up actually going back and finding that ram on my 4th sheep hunt and taking that. And that one was a pretty short hunt. But I spent about 10 days watching that ram from a distance before the client could come in. So yeah, it was good. Great. I would say great all around. Probably best season I've had. Yeah, didn't have any major issues with horses. I had 15 horses in my string this year, which is like just a stupid amount for 2 people. But they all worked well together. Like, I had a couple wicked wranglers over the course of the season, and the horses all lined out pretty good, and it worked out. We had a ton of feed, like natural feed, just the way the weather cycle came in. Had a really wet August, late July, early August, and then that warm stretch, we just had awesome grass everywhere, and it was rather idyllic.
Sounds unlike sheep hunting almost.
Yeah. You know what though? Like, I felt like I've had enough years of just grinding it out. Not every year, not every hunt, but like, kind of like I said last year, where it's like, 35 days to get 2 rams. And then there's other guys in the outfit that are like, oh yeah, I got, none of my hunts went more than 5 days kind of thing. So I've hunted a lot of tough country and had a lot of kind of grinders in the past. And it was really nice to just feel like, it was like, yeah, okay, this is not cruisy, like you're still working hard, but yeah, it was nice to see that end of it, because I don't usually get the privilege. So
one good season every 12 is kind of keeps you coming back. Yeah. Nobody
ever accused us of being the most intelligent creatures.
Awesome. Yeah. Tanner, I know you talk lots about sort of the Frontiersman gear motto or approach to business is like, you get after it hard, work hard so you can play hard, and you get out and do the things that you love, be in the backcountry. And I know you guys live up to that. The shop gets shut down and sort of that peak season there, and you guys are off, doing what you love to do, and it's about being out there. Let's talk a little bit about what you got up to this fall and the rest of the crew. I know that some of the other guys had some good success too, and it was a real good season. So love to hear all about it.
Yeah, honestly, I feel really lucky for how we've kind of structured it to be able to do that. I mean, we work pretty damn hard, like right now for the next 4 months. I did a sheep hunt for myself this year, which was fun to fly in. I haven't done a fly in for a long time, and turned out to be not the most efficient hunt. Didn't see a single sheep for the entire hunt. So, I mean, that's how it goes. But so that kicked it off. And then actually I didn't do any other personal hunting until I went up, and I just guided for a really short period up north there. So I went up guiding and I was up there actually for all of September, which was good. Kind of had some bad luck, like Nolan was saying, because of the weather. I was getting the opposite end of the joy of that weather. So had a really hard elk season up there this year, and then didn't have any luck for moose, just the way that it kind of worked out. Just for days hunting didn't really work out. So got out of that and felt pretty like unaccomplished on anything in life. Basically went that giant period, month and a half, and didn't kill anything. So what was really fun is I got out with, wasn't able to bring, obviously Nolan was still guiding, but I was able to take Jordan Tuck, our photographer, content, the man behind all that end, and then Lewis, and we just shut the entire shop down and headed up north to do some goat moose combo hunt, which was an absolute blast and some really new country for us. And didn't have any luck for moose. It was a little bit late in the rut. It was like that first 2 weeks of October time-wise, and I think they rutted earlier this year. So we didn't get into any moose action. There's definitely lots of tracks around, but beautiful area, and we ended up killing 2 really nice goats, which is always sweet. I mean, we saw, oh God, it was awesome. Like, we saw probably 200 goats up there, so it was really a great hunt. We got to spend a lot of time on some lakes with boats, which we don't do much at all either. So it was fun. It was a blast, good crew, good times. So rolled out from there, came back, and then started deer season, which is actually kind of Lewis's bread and butter, is he spends a lot of his time chasing mule deer. He loves chasing, well, all deer, but mule deer especially. I did a small little backpack trip and zinged around over a deer's back, which I haven't done for a long time. So I missed a pretty nice buck and then killed just a whatever buck on our way out. Lewis actually, he did really well this year, and they killed like north of 170 buck. So he's on cloud 9, and that kind of wrapped our season up. I mean, that's kind of short and dirty of it, but.
Yeah, and then reality kicks you in the face. I know we talked earlier in the week, and you're like, oh, you're back in the shop, and there's all this stuff and hustling and catching up. So, how's things on the business side? Let's talk a little bit about Frontiersman Gear, what you guys got going on, and sort of the plans. I know you got I see you're going to be out in Alberta for WSFAB, and I think you're kicking things off here right away with some new stuff going on too. So let's jump into that stuff.
Pretty heavy show load this year, for sure. Heavier than we've ever been. I think it's for a benefit. We're growing, which is incredible in this economy and space to continue to do. So I feel super lucky on that end, when our biggest hurdle is trying to find guys to work in the shop. And, that's a good problem to have at the end of the day, when I know it's not like that for a lot of companies right now. So feel really lucky on that side. Start our show season this weekend, actually. We're heading out to the Alberta Professional Outfitting Society there in Nisku. And then we'll roll into shows all the way through till the last one's April 17th. So kind of rolling through to that. So getting ready and lots of shop work, building inventory, and then trying to just keep up with custom orders and everything else that kind of rolls through on that side. We've got a little bit of Christmas stuff. Actually, we're wrapping up the last Christmas order today, so that's nice. And then, it's other than that, it's just the show season kind of, I call it chaos, but it's controlled throttle is what it is, and keep ramping up and trying to build as much stuff as possible to serve the great folks that we have here in BC and Western Canada. We're pretty lucky, actually, down at the Penticton show. We just announced it yesterday, actually, as we're recording this, but at the Penticton Wild Sheep, the Salute to Conservation, your guys' operation there, we're going to be kind of launching our new side of Frontiersman Textiles. So we're extremely excited with that. We've partnered with an amazing guy, Cody Rockefeller from Stone Point, and he's coming on board, and he's going to be running this side of the operation for us, and just continuing down that line of trying to bring much needed gear that's made in Canada of the highest quality possible, and just get rid of as much of this gear that's coming over from China that's just you can't rely on, can't trust. And we're just being able to continue down that line with textiles now, game bags, tarps, etc. is a fun part to keep playing with. I mean, I'm super happy that Cody came on board, because there was no other way we were going to do this. It's just the bandwidth is eaten up so heavily with everything else. Like, I mean, Nolan comes out of guide season. It's like, all right, I got 4 lists of shit here. Where do you want to start on? So, all the crew just has more on their plate than they need. So it's pretty awesome to get guys like Cody that are like-minded and of the same mentality in the space. So looking forward to that.
Well, I want to, I guess, take my hats off to Frontiersman Gear and the vision that you guys have. And like Tanner, you've talked about a lot. It's about Canadian made, building stuff in Canada. And we've seen that. We've seen it happen in the U.S. in a big way. Like we've seen, like we look at Origins and a bunch of other sort of return to the U.S. for manufacturing and stuff like that. And it can be done. And I would imagine now, like, there's never been a better time, certainly in Canada, with all the bullshit going on with this cross-border stuff and, like, just, like, tariffs and just, like, not really this great relationship with our biggest trading partner right there. So, like, that has to open up new opportunity within Canada in terms of price point. Obviously, Canada has these higher standards in terms of, like, quality of life, and you're not going to get someone in a sweatshop freaking working 20 hours a day, that's 7 years old to help the bottom line. So, it's a challenging job, but I think, like, what's your perspective on that? And we see it with Stone Point coming on now and that return to building Canadian products in Canada. Do you see there's a lot of upside and a lot of opportunity now more than there ever has been?
There really is. It's not easy by any means. I mean, the facilities were in this country 30, 40 years ago, and there's no reason that it can't come back to that again. When we look at the direction that the U.S. market has taken and how Canada looked at it, I think we got really reliant like 15 years ago on, you look at the U.S. market for a Canadian company and you go, okay, well, it's, X times bigger. I think I don't know. I think their revenue is like 50 sometimes bigger than what Canada's is. And you look at like resident hunters or anything, especially in our space, and you think, okay, well, that's so much better. But in reality, when you look at the pie that is even just BC for resident hunters or the outdoor industry or anything else that goes into it, I can't eat that whole pie anyways. So why, like, with this big push to like market down in the States, work with the States and everything else, we're 100% there. We're going to keep working. We've got great partners down there and people that we love down there and amazing customers from that side. But our big focus right now is just Canada first, BC first. Our resident hunters are making the best quality gear for really one of the most rugged places that people are using this gear, aside from, Alaska, and there's some really, really tough terrain. I know like Sonora and stuff is different, but still super tough. But when you look at what an average outdoorsman goes through here in BC, the quality of gear has to come out of this province, I believe, because they're the only people that understand. We're the only people that understand what's needed here. So it's an amazing opportunity. There's other sides also, like the clothing side, and I mean, a person can look at even the East Coast right now that's pushing into Canadian-made boots again. When you look at Tatra and a bunch of amazing manufacturers on that side that basically bought old factories, the same thing kind of Origin did down in the States, and they're going, look, the machinery's been sitting here dormant for 25 years. Let's fire it up. Let's go. So it's incredible to see. It's incredible to see people also that are tired of the Amazon mentality of, quick and cheap is the only thing that matters. So I think people have, after they've rebought the same thing 10 years in a row, they're finally going, hey, I'd like something that lasts more than 6 months. So it doesn't just come from us. It comes from us, but then it comes from the consumer also saying, hey, we're looking for quality gear for once, which is the biggest part, because there's no way, like, we can't, as much as I'd love to produce stuff at the cheapest price we can, we don't run sales very much in the business for a reason, because we're already basically right there. We're bottom line. I don't increase prices and then be able to run 30% off sales, because it's just the margins aren't there. We're pretty blatant and open about that, where it's like, hey, look, this is the best we can do, and we're going to continue to just keep pushing out the best stuff we can at the best prices.
Well, and it's interesting. I find too that you guys spend a lot of time in the field, a hell of a lot more time than I do, especially as a professional guide. And I buy some gear, the same gear that guides are buying, and I fucking trash it after 2 weeks. And I'm like, how does a guide do that? So like this return to quality and really focusing on like a very high end quality product that maybe is a bit more money and it's certainly more expensive to manufacture, but it's going to be durable and it's going to last you. Because man, if I'm probably pretty negligent in the bush when it comes to my gear, but I don't feel like I'm excessive to it. And I just I'll go through some gear and I just fucking destroy it in 1 year. It's like in a couple of weeks in the bush. I don't know how, as a guide, you can push through year after year with, and I'm not running shit gear. It's pretty good quality gear, but just some of it's just not made to last.
Yeah, I think a big part, and Tanner kind of touched on this, but a big part of it is that like a lot of the gear that's manufactured isn't made truthfully for what we do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when you look at like, there's some really good, tough, lightweight rain gear out there. Sitka's, for example, I've used for a bunch of years at Dew Point, and it's been really durable for me. Um, but I run multiple pairs of rain gear. Like I bring for me, I'm like, I got helis for when I'm just trailing horses, just straight rubber. And then I've got maybe like a heavier duty breathable rain gear for late season stuff, and then a really light rain gear for early sheep. But again, I think a lot of kind of like what Tanner said, the U.S. market is so much bigger, and this has been a complaint I've had, and other guides, peers of mine, have had for years, where it's like you just feel like, man, why aren't these companies just sending stuff to like send some prototypes to pick 5 outfits in, Alaska, Northwest Territories, the Yukon, BC, send some stuff out and see what comes back destroyed. Because places like Colorado or Montana, or like, there's definitely a lot of tough hunting there, but it's not the same degree of bush that we deal with. Like one coastal goat hunt in BC is probably the equivalent of 100 years of bush bashing in somewhere in the lower 48. So I think there's some of that, and I think that's where you get a lot of people that are just saying like, hey, look, like I actually don't mind if it weighs a bit more. I don't mind if it costs more. I just want durability and longevity in my stuff, because as all of us know, like if you have something fail on a hunt, it doesn't matter really what it costs if it's no good halfway through and you can't get a replacement for that item while you're in the bush, especially, guiding. It's like we have maybe a little bit more ability to get stuff through the season because we have planes coming in and out for clients, but it still takes time, right? Like I could order new rain gear and it might not get to me for 3 weeks, depending on when plane cycles are coming and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely, I've learned my lessons over the years, and like rain gear's a big one. I bring 3 pairs in, 2 pairs of boots, if not sometimes 3 pairs of boots. Like, that's the advantage of running around with 15 horses. But yeah, there's definitely holes in the market. There's companies that are filling them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. I'm really excited about the direction you're going, and really excited about the announcement with Stone Point. Maybe talk about some of the stuff that we're gonna see coming out of Frontiersman Textiles and the work that Cody's doing. What are some of the new stuff that we might see, Tanner, coming across the plate?
So the biggest part is that like the first lineup that you'll see coming out for the 2026 stuff is replacing essentially the standards that are just being made overseas. So when you're talking about, multiple size game bag kits, kill kits, pullouts, whether you're buying in singles or in kits, expanding that entire line to make sure that there's no gaps anymore, whether it's moose bison all the way down to sheep and, Haida-Gwaii blacktails. We're going to have people covered for that entire lineup. So that was an important one for me. Meat tarps is a big one, and trying to make a lot of these pieces dual purpose also, so that, with the cost that comes with making stuff in Canada, you're getting, it's not just a one-piece gear. So really trying to be cognizant and thinking about how that gear is in the field. So meat tarps is one which we're really excited about. They're such a simple thing, but they're just, for some reason, there's just not a lot of them out there. There's sheep tarps, food bags, other pullout kits. Cody was working on a lot of awesome stuff and had it just about nailed down, or right on the brink of like trying to push them into production prior, which we saw already, and now we're just able to increase that production wise, which is like Arca shooting bags for guides like Nolan, or guides all over the south that chase a lot of bears and moose and stuff. These usable pieces of gear that guides aren't able to get, or think, that would, if this was there, this would be perfect. That's the stuff that we're targeting right now, where it's really important. Cody's got a brilliant brain when it comes to textiles, whether in regards to like gaiters and tents and sleeping bags, and he's just like us when it comes to the sky's the limit on it. So I'm excited to see what the following 12 months will look like once we get this initial stuff out. But the initial piece is essentially just replacing all the kit in your bag that you use already that is coming with a made in China sticker on it. We're just trying to just completely scrub those out of a person's kit.
Right on. No, Cody, I think he was down in trail. Is he going to be working in trail, or is he going to be up in Prince George?
So right now we're just keeping it exactly how it is. His operation's smooth and running, and he's still going to be using Stone Point to make some really cool custom gear and let his dreams kind of fly wild on that end, which is great. And then we've essentially just consolidated his entire hunting line under Frontiersman's umbrella. But he still will be down there. Prince George isn't out of the picture, so I'd love to have it all under one roof, but I mean, those are really big moves. So you'll start spiking my anxiety if I start thinking too much about that stuff.
I want to jump into some other stuff here, but just one thing I'm thinking about is like, you talked, you've got a growth vision clearly. You start out in the knife business and then expand to leather and now the textiles. And really sky's the limit. And especially if we're talking about Canadian made products in-house in Canada, do you see more growth opportunities, above and beyond this? And, I look at, one thing I think of is like an Exo Mountain gear, like what Steve Speck's doing down there, where they bought a factory and, they're sewing all their stuff in-house at home, doing their own work there now. I think it was done before, but it was contracted out, but they brought it in under their umbrella. So just chat a little bit about that, your vision for the future.
Well, the first one that I'd love to get into, and we're right at the brink of that, if we can get a couple more bodies in the shop that are trained, effective, and understand the fit and finish and craft of what we're doing. But we'd really love to get down the horse tack side. I think that's really important and something that we want to, not because it's not there, because there are people, if you're going to find custom-made saddles, you're going to find really high-end stuff either down in Texas or else in BC and Alberta. So that's nothing new. We just want to make sure that it stays alive is all it is, and offer some more direct-to-consumer options where we're hearing what people are wanting and we can custom make them, whether it's saddlebags or, chaps and that whole side of it. So that's one that's very close. I don't want to say when it's going to happen because I'll be a year off if I say that, but that's one that I'm really excited about. The big one for me is I really want to leave the doors open to having the crew involved and being able to bring in good people. Because I mean, if I had looked at like the textile side and been like, okay, this needs to get done, I want to do it, trying to learn it myself and then find somebody to do it and everything else doesn't make sense. But if we can find people that are driving that direction already, and we can help put some fuel in the tank, bring them under the Frontiersman umbrella like we're doing with Cody there, and then drive it forward that way, just bring them into the family, I think that's where that's where Frontiersman can really excel and be a nice catalyst for a lot of that stuff. So I don't know what direction that'll go. If there's somebody, like let's say Ovastone that also is like, hey, we're going to rip on clothing, we're looking for partners, whatever, that would be something where I could see Frontiersman really peering down other realms. As I said prior, our bandwidth is so taken up right now. We essentially need people that are not just so we're filling into that spot for, but really passionate about building a product, and then we can help drive that sleigh forward. But I mean, obviously it's an easy one with the industry that we're into, that stuff like courses is something that I'd really love to do also, like a little bit of it, have an academy here and teach some really fun stuff, whether it's like entry to hunting or entry to mountain hunting, or, some long range shooting stuff. I have a bit of a past in that, and then that side of it would be really cool to do and isn't that far off also if we can, get the bandwidth for it. So the sky's the limit, and it's kind of the fun part with it also. If, Lewis wakes up tomorrow and has an idea on a product that he wants to make or something he wants to do, or Nolan does also, like Nolan spearheaded this entire chainsaw scabbard line that we have for guides and outfitters. And that's the whole point and purpose of this, is to where Nolan's like, hey, look, this is exactly what I need. This is what's going to work. What can we do for it? And then you can just whip up a product from a pull it from his brain, put it into a product, and then you're actually solving a niche. So sometimes you don't know exactly that trajectory that it's going to go, but we're open to anything which is fun in it.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. There's been some cool things like that, or even this like scabbard where I was like, I've used lots of leather rifle scabbards, but I want one, like I know exactly what I want in one, and to be able to just lay my rifle out on a sheet of cardboard, draw a bunch of dimensions, and then send the pictures over and be like, I know what I want, but you guys know how to build them. So however you need to tweak this, if you need to adjust dimensions and blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, it's like next thing you know, you've got a production line of like what works really well for a specific kind of rifle. It's not going to work for everybody, but it's been stuff like that's a lot of fun to be able to do.
It really is. And I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
And I think there's lots of opportunity when you look at guys like, whether it's Brogan, our great mutual friend doing the artistry stuff, and then the outfitting side. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people that are doing some really cool stuff in this province. And I think the opportunity to just offer more and better anywhere that we can expand on something and just make it the best that we can is what we're going to do.
I think it's super inspiring when I look at Frontiersman gear. I love that. I look at you guys. You guys are young and you got fire and you want to take over the world. And it's like, there's people that have been doing a lot of great work for a lot of years, but they're kind of coming to the end of their career and they just don't have, like, they've kind of made their nut. They're kind of pretty good and they don't have this energy. And like, you guys are doing this now and you're young guys. Like, you got decades of this ahead of you. Where does Frontiersman gear, where do you guys look 10, 20, 30 years down the road? That's fucking amazing. And your whole team's like that. It's not like, there's just like this one young guy that's doing it. Like, everyone that you've surrounded yourself with is people that are getting after it. They've got a vision for growth and they've got, you've created that vision for the company and it's pretty inspiring. I love it.
Thanks.
Anyway, just an observation. Okay. We weren't even going to talk business, but so cool and so many great things going on. The one thing that, you guys have been such great industry supporters in the conservation space and to different organizations, certainly the Wild Sheep Society BC. And each year you come, you've got that growth mentality and you come to us and you've always got a vision of something new and exciting. And there's more stuff too that we've been talking about working on, and that's going to come out over the years as we move ahead. But this is a big one this year, is the RAM Awards, and this is 100% on Frontiersman gear. It's your vision. It's something that I've always been passionate about. I love the idea of it. I know our members want it, but we never really done it, and certainly not for a long time, if ever, well before my time. And this was a vision that you guys had. So it's new for 2026 for the Penticton Sleuth Conservation Mountain Hunting Expo. We're going to be hosting the Thursday night RAM Awards, and this is exclusively your vision, Frontiersman Gear's vision. Nolan, you've been doing a ton of the heavy lifting on it, so let's pull it apart. Let's tell people what they can expect. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait for it. I'm super stoked, and I just want to hear your guys' vision. And you guys are not only, it's your vision and idea and concept, but you're putting the heavy lifting in behind the scenes with all of it. So over to you, gents. I want to hear all about it.
You want me to? I'll take this one. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I don't even remember exactly when. Like, obviously, this exists in other spaces. It's not a totally novel idea. I think this actually, I'd seen it. I can't remember when. Maybe after the awards ceremony last year or something. But I know I'd seen it on the Alberta side, and I'd seen like oldest ram. I remember seeing a photo on Instagram of oldest ram in the buckle, and I think, some of it is like the horse guide Western stuff where you're like, like Western buckles are cool. I wear one every day. And sort of that element of it. And then I think we just had a conversation around it. Tanner and I did. And then I talked to one of the directors, Matt McCabe, a bit and kind of poked him about it. And he was like, dude, I think that's a super cool idea. And I just felt like that was something that we had missing in BC. Like we've got this great sheep hunting community, I think. And certainly anyone, a lot of people who attend the Sheep Society exhibition, or prior to that when it was kind of just the AGM hangout sort of thing over the years. Like that's always been something that I've heard from lots of people and felt myself, was that it's such a great community. It's especially for younger people they don't have sheep hunting mentors, they don't have sheep hunting experience. You can go to a place like that and you're just meeting all of these other people that share a common interest, and are really passionate about sheep and sheep hunting. And I just thought like, hey, it's cool to do this kind of thing. Like it would be cool to give back to also a community that gives so much. I think you would agree, Kyle, that like the Sheep Society members, they do a lot. Like they donate a lot, they help fund a lot, and share a lot, and bring a lot of ideas into creation. And then the board itself and yourself, like you guys have grown everything so much in the past. Well, post COVID for sure, right? Like it is just huge. I mean, I was going through editing the magazine, and I looked at even just the presenters for the Sheep University this year, and was like, holy shit, like that is a killer lineup. So stuff like that, it's like you guys do all of this stuff, and then the membership gives so much, and lots of times it's just nice to remember the hunt and have something to celebrate that moment, I think, and I've always felt like it's a big thing to like celebrate the everyman or the every person, the average person out there hunting, because you see all of the magazines or all the awards and stuff that happen in the States. Like it's always guided hunts, and obviously nothing against guided hunters. I'm a guide. That's how I make my bread and butter, and I've had lots of great clients, but it's nice to see the people who don't have, who haven't paid $1 million worth of slams get awards. Because sometimes it's people who just work hard, and sometimes it's people who just get lucky. So that was sort of the impetus for this. And then as soon as I talked to Tanner about it, he was like, yeah, done. Let's do everything. Like, I want us to be the ones presenting this. And another thing is like, you guys do so much, and you're so slammed with like the Sheep Society, the team there, the board of directors, and yourself, Kyle, that it's like, you don't want to just criticize or make like, or be like, oh, well, you should have done this or you should do this. It's like, I do feel like it's easy for people to do that, whether you don't like who's presenting or you don't like how this event was handled. But at some point, you kind of either have to put up or shut up. So it's like, if you're gonna make suggestions, all, well, you should do this. It's like, well, shit, man, everyone's a volunteer there, or most people are. You're an employee, but like, you know what I mean? So it was one of those things where Tanner was then really fired up about like, okay, we need to handle this. And then from our end, we were like, well, if we want this to come to fruition, let's try and take as much responsibility off of the society. Like, let's not make this a financial burden, for presenting awards and stuff like this, and let's not add to their plate, because I know you guys are already completely, talk about low bandwidth, like you guys are slammed. So yeah, that's really where it came from. And then, I think we had a series of conversations with myself and a couple other people and Tanner, and to get an idea of like a loose framework. It was pitched to you, and then you basically asked for a pitch of what it would look like, and yeah, so now we're swinging with it, and I'm really excited about it. Like We've had some really great entries so far. We've had some stuff that, there's some stuff that's unsurprising. Some people that are just killers that you're like, well, shocker, you killed another wicked stone sheep or bighorn or whatever. But we've had some pretty cool youth entries come through, and some archery stuff start to trickle through too. So I'm really excited about it. And then part of that, which I think is kind of a quintessential to this kind of award, is that the winners, they'll be presented with a custom made trophy belt buckle that says Wild Sheep Society BC Ram Awards 2025, and then the award that's given. And that's all, again, to kind of follow our current path on things. Canadian made. That's a Canadian company. Olson Belt Buckles making them. So yeah, super cool. It's I think it's a really good fit for the society and for what we stand for, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Really stoked. Let's talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts. So there's two
Yeah,
parts. There's the event itself, right? Like there's okay, how do you show up and what's involved with that? But let's talk about the entries. So if so that's the more imminent because there's a deadline for the entries. What do you need to do to get involved? What are the different categories? How do you qualify? Like who can enter? Let's just go through all that sort of stuff for anyone that might be interested in entering.
for sure. So all of the current graphics, posters, and stuff we've put out right now, we had the deadline for January 1st. And I think we've kind of agreed there. We're going to push that to January 31st just to give people more time to get stuff in. I know there were certainly delays around CIs with the government shutdown and stuff this year, and then a backlog there. So we just want to give we want to give as much time for as many people to understand what this is, and really also get the message out there that it's not just about the size. Like we actually intentionally did not give a biggest RAM award. That's not a category, and the reason for that is there's a lot, I think, to some degree, beauty's in the eye of the beholder with sheep sometimes. And there's some funky sheep out there. I've seen pictures of stuff over the years that you're like, oh, that's a crazy character ram, right? Or, yeah, or it has a cool story or whatever. So our categories are oldest ram of the year, archery ram of the year, youth ram of the year, outstanding ram of the year, conservation integrity award, and the youth hunter award. So the final two awards you cannot self-nominate for, that someone else has to nominate you. And I'll try and keep this like not jumping all over like my brain usually does. To enter the awards doesn't cost you anything. That was a big thing for us. We don't want entry fees. We don't want a barrier of entry. This is free. So like if you harvested a ram this year, I don't care if it's a 140-inch 8-year-old stone sheep, you should enter it. You never know. It's a good part of the community, I think. And it's a fun thing to do, and yeah, get your friends to as well. But yeah, I'll kind of break down. So overall, like general rules, it's only open to BC residents. So the goal there is that this is not a non-resident guided thing. It's only open to BC residents. You need to be a member of the Wild Sheep Society BC. So if you're not, and you want to enter a RAM, great reason to get a membership. There's all sorts of tiers there, from very affordable to very unaffordable, if you're generous. So, but yeah, it's easy to join. So that's a big thing for us. It has to be taken this year, so 2025, with a valid license in BC, and it must be compulsory inspected. We also need a field photo with the hunter. Ideally, the more photos you can send, the better. If you got photos of the skull, like with the cape and everything off, that's great too. Especially if you're gunning for oldest ram of the year. Yeah, we're trying to not have controversy around all of that, so that's why we've asked for that. If you are sending in pictures of your CI sheet, obviously, maybe not obviously, but please black out or cover any sensitive information there. We don't need to know where it was killed. We have had people submit stuff with that on there, but just black out any of the sensitive stuff. Really, we just want to make sure that everything's above board. It's a legal harvest, and that it's helpful to see the age number that the CI was given to it. Granted, that's not always the legal age is not always the exact age, but and then we need your name, phone number, email of the applicant, and then going into specific categories on it. For oldest ram, we want a picture of the CI sheet with the sensitive information blacked out. We also want clear photos ideally from multiple angles, so we can see, we can look at it. Like we've had a few come in that are like a Euro style skull from various angles. That's perfect. That's great. You can send 100 photos if you want. There's no limit. And archery ram has to be taken with archery equipment and archery equipment only. Obviously, we have no way of proving that. That is sort of an honor system thing, but you can't stick it with an arrow and then give it the old Pope and gun. That does not qualify you. So that's kind of the only exception on archery. Youth ram, all general rules apply for all of these. The hunter cannot be older than 16 at the time of harvest. We will allow if you killed one on your 16th birthday, that counts. But yeah, it's the idea there is to celebrate, the next generation, people up and coming. So we have actually a lot of back and forth about that, whether we do it 18 or 16, and we feel like 16 is a better. I mean, there's kids that are 18 that are sheep guides, so yeah, you just kind of want to keep it sporting. Conservation integrity, you can't be self-nominated. It is for someone who has exemplified significant conservation efforts for wild sheep over time. So if you know of someone like that, whether they're friends, family, etc., yeah, send in an email and nominate them. We'd absolutely love that. And then finally, actually, no, there's two. There's Youth Conservation, Youth Integrity Award, Youth Ram of the Year Award, which I actually already covered, and then the Youth Hunter Award, which again cannot be self-nominated. It can and likely will be nominated by parents. That's totally acceptable. Families acceptable. Same thing, 16 years or younger, and a youth who shows exemplary ethics, stewardship, integrity, and determination while hunting. So I think that covers a breakdown on it. We have all of that information up online at wildsheepsociety.com/Ram Awards. And to enter, you will email ramawards@wildsheepsociety.com.
Freaking awesome, man. What a year for it, eh? Like, there's been some freaking hammer rams killed this year. It's just like it's good. I'm just like I'm thinking about the quality of rams killed across this province, bighorns and stones. This has been a phenomenal year for, like, man. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a cool thing, and I mean, like, myself, I'll probably never be eligible to enter one of these things, just the way that my lifespan's working out with guiding and everything like that, and my own sheep hunting. But I think it's just one of those things. It's like that's what I would want to see. Like, it'd be cool, you imagine yourself as, whether you're a young kid or someone who's not, who's just grinding it out and gets a wicked ram, and maybe you get a cool buckle with it. That, to me, like, that's cool. It's not so much about, lots of people don't care about the recognition and stuff like that, but it's just another really cool piece of the story of sheep hunting. And there's so many, like you said, there's been a lot of high quality rams taken this year from around the province, and from people who, you think about, like, Chuck Peeling, for example, who I think hunted sheep for 8 or 9 seasons or something like that and held out. It's not like he didn't find legal rams. He was holding out for a specific kind of ram for, his ideal ram, and stuff like that. And you have guys that find them. Like, it's just been such a cool year to see this coming in.
The one thing that I think lots about with this is just it's celebrating the resource, right? It's such a and the hunters that hunt them too, of course. That's a thing, but it just, we're going to see the quality of rams and the pursuit of them, and it's like it's the heart of what we love and what we do, right? And it's such a cool thing, and to me, it shows the quality of rams of British Columbia. Like, man, we've got 4 subspecies of sheep. We've got incredible. You think, like, what's the most iconic wild sheep in the world? It's the Chadwick, right? It's what everybody talks about. I bet you lots of people don't even realize it's from British Columbia, right? Obviously, a lot of people do, but it's just a testament to the quality of sheep within this province, and I think it's such a cool thing. And can't believe we haven't done it earlier, but I'm so grateful for you guys bringing this up and running with it, and I just can't wait for it. I'm so excited.
Nice. Yeah. I'm really stoked for the Outstanding Ram Award. I'm interested to see how that will pan out. And I think I kind of touched on this, but I do want to iterate again that is not just the biggest ram. Like that award intentionally is not just going to go to whatever the highest scoring sheep might be. It could end up as a really high scoring sheep, but I think that's the exciting thing about that because yeah, I think of, over the years of my own personal guiding, like I've seen some really freaky rams over the years, like, one horn ram that hooks in like this and kicks out 6 inches over the nose, stuff like that, where you're like, that could end up being, that the panel of judges might say that's the outstanding ram this year. So that to me is a really big, it's exciting because you're kind of it's the what if or what might come out of it and you just don't know. I mean, like oldest ram, cool award, great way to celebrate sheep and obviously habitat and it gives you a good idea of what's happening on the landscape. If you see a 12, 13, 14-year-old ram come in, something like that. But I feel like that outstanding ram is like a big what if, and you don't know. It's not going to be as cut and dry. Where oldest ram, it's like, okay, well, if it's 13, that's probably going to be the oldest, or 12, or whatever that number ends up being. It's a very clear defined one. So yeah, it's exciting. It's cool to see. Fun to be a part of.
That's awesome.
And I think that there's something cool with those outside of the sheep side, those conservation integrity awards, just trying to reiterate also on that side where it's just like, it's really important that we, in my opinion at least, and I tried to push pretty hard for those ones where it's recognizing, there's some unsung heroes in this province that maybe they're not even part of the Wild Sheep Board or they're not really even a well-known name, but they do so much work, whether it's bringing new hunters out there or, like I know, I personally know of a guy and he takes, people that want to get into sheep hunting, he's taking 2 or 3 of them every single year out there to the mountains. And I mean, if that's not conservation trying to teach them the way of the mountains and how to respect wild sheep and everything else, like those people need to be celebrated. And then you look at the youth side, and the youth side is where I get like crazy passionate about. I don't have kids. I can only imagine what it's going to be like when I do have kids. But within the business, I've gotten some incredible photos of kids, with their first elk, with their first deer, holding a grouse up, something like that. And you will never be able to replicate that smile. I don't care what I kill in my life, I'll never smile as big as some of those kids ever will. And to be able to drive them forward also and recognize them in front on a stage with something tangible like a buckle, I think is just really cementing the heritage of hunting in BC and how important all that stuff is. So I'm really grateful you guys let us do this, and 100% to Nolan for taking the entire ball on this end and pushing it uphill. So I think it's going to be a great night. I hope that we get a ton of entries. I've looked briefly at the entries, but I hope we just get flooded with them because it isn't. And I think Nolan said it a couple times, and just to reiterate, there is no shoe-in award. Like it's enter anything because you really don't know how many people entered. Like archery ram, especially, there's not a lot of people that take rams with archery equipment in this province, and I think it's just it's so cool. And already, like you were saying, outstanding ram, there's not a shoe in for that. So I mean, I think about that ram from last year, that real twisty thing that Omer had in his booth, and it's like that's a perfect example, right, where it's not the biggest, by any means, but just such a cool ram.
Right on. Let's talk a little bit about the event itself. So there's getting your entries in. So again, just for our listeners, January 31st is a deadline. We've extended it. So make sure you get your entries in, no matter who, what, when, or where. And like you said, the Youth Hunter of the Year, that's not exclusively to sheep, is it? It could be. No. They could kill an elk, or they kill so don't limit it to just that. Right. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So I think that's important for people to realize. And then the Conservation Integrity Award again, as well. Like that's that's a bigger picture thing. And so if you know somebody that's done a ton over the years for conservation, make sure and again, it's not self-nominated. So two important things to realize there. Now, the event itself, and Tanner, I know you're really sort of felt strongly about it, like, let's keep it affordable. We want to get a lot of people there to celebrate. We don't want this big barrier to entry. So we're charging $50 entry. It's basically nothing. It's the cost of a couple drinks, and we've got some drink sponsors that are going to provide some refreshments there. So that includes appetizers and some drinks. I think we're starting. It's a 7:00 start. Is that what we got set for? And it's on Thursday, February 26th. So it's in Penticton. It's attached to our Salute to Conservation Mountain Hunting Expo, but on the Thursday night, there'll be the RAM Awards, and it's open to everybody. So you don't need to be a member. You don't need to be coming to the main show. We'd love you to, and you should if you're smart, but not everybody's smart. Just kidding. But come Thursday night, and $50. It's you're going to get that much in drinks and and food. And then we got a great night planned for you. We're going to have some exclusive raffles for that evening. So we're going to do some cool giveaways. We'll have some really neat door prizes. And we've got a proper program. You guys have done all the heavy lifting on that. So I'm really excited to see what you're rolling out there. I haven't sort of heard all the details, but I know you got a real cool program that you're going to roll out. And you guys are going to lead that and MC it all. And then, of course, it's a social night. We're going to have a great time. There's going to be drinks flowing. And it's just going to be a great night for everyone. And then we're going to roll right into our weekend for just an amazing night of wild sheep. So, Tanner, I don't know if you want to touch a little bit more on the event itself and what we're going to do there, but I'm really, really excited about what you guys got planned.
I think one of the biggest things with that, if nothing else, even if you're not entered into the RAM Awards, you don't know someone that is, or any of the awards, it's going to be an awesome social night. So the big thing is that I realized is that a lot of these exhibitors and people that are running booths also, they don't have the chance to really have a lot of face-to-face. Like, when you get, for anybody that hasn't been there, you roll in and, there's 1,000 people coming through the doors, and a lot of these people that are running booths, maybe it's someone that that like at Leica or Omer or Precision or anybody, and you want to come talk to them and have a face-to-face. This social night's a good opportunity for that also, because it's really hard to do that inside of the expo itself. And then when it comes to the banquet side, of course, it's a social event. It's very nice. You're sitting at the table with your group, and you'll get up and have drinks at the back and everything else. But this isn't like a super formal event. It's, semi-formal. It's just a big get-together is all it is. So it's a great time just to, converse and bullshit and share some drinks with people, instead of, because that's what we realized, that it was just people just go to the bar after anyways, and then you're just trying to get your visiting in there. And for anyone that's been to the event and headed to the Parrot after, it can be pretty chaotic, and there's no quality conversations going on in that place. So come to the social night. It's going to be a great time. That's all it is for me.
Well, and I think that's the cool part of, and we get some criticism about our programming and our events, or like, oh, we don't need all these bullshit speeches, right? And that's not what this is. There's going to be the event itself, and there's going to be the presentations, and we're going to celebrate the wild sheep and the people that take them. But it's about getting together as a community and celebrating and being together, and it's just going to be a good feeling in that room where you get to visit and really connect. And it is exclusive. It is our wild sheep community. So like you said, you're not sharing it with the crack addict from down the road. Like we got the people in the room that you want to hang out with, right? So it's going to be really, really cool. And I'm really, really excited about it. So it's going to be so much fun. So again, if you're thinking about coming to our show and you look at it, you go, a little bit expensive. I can't afford to come all weekend. And that's fine. But this is a great exposure. You can come out on Thursday night. It's $50. Hotel. It's right at the hotel, the event where we're holding it all, the Penticton Trading Conventions, or the Penticton Lakeside Resort. Sorry about that. And hotels are like $125 a night, so it's super cheap there. So you could whip down to Penticton for the night, check it out, and maybe you can go to the expo on Friday. And it's not going to cost you a whole bunch of money. You just got to show up in Penticton, and it's going to be a great night. And I think the cool thing is it's our community. Our wild sheep community is going to be coalescing that night, and it's going to be very social and just a great time. So,
yeah, I think so, and I think that's like you said. Those banquets. There's a lot going on. There's cost involved and everything else. To dip your toes in the community, or just to come see the expo itself on the Friday, and you can do the whole thing for $200. It's pretty hard to have a good time for $200 nowadays. So I think it's as good as we could do.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
And I will say, just about the expo in general, it is flat out the best hunting expo convention in Canada. Not even a contest. I've been to a bunch of them. I've been to ones in Ontario. I've been to ones in BC, in some similar type of events in Alberta and stuff like that, as well as many years of going down to the Sheep Show in Reno, as well as a few years at SCI in Nashville the last couple of years. And like, I'd put it neck and neck with anywhere. I think like if you're into mountain hunting, whether it's even if you're not into sheep hunting, you could be an avid backpack mule deer hunter, elk hunter. You're not going to find another place in Canada with that much specialization of knowledge, gear, and just product aimed at you. I think it's something quite unique that we have now in Canada that you guys have done, and it's super cool to see. Like I said, I've been to tons of other hunting conventions and expos and stuff, and there's nothing else out there currently like this. So hats off to you guys for doing that. And presumably most of your listeners are avid sheep hunters and kind of know about this stuff. But if it falls across anyone who's not, I think there's a place there for anyone. If you're into hunting, you're into gear, you want to learn more, or you just want to see what the latest stuff is out there from manufacturers. There's a lot of stuff. Like, as Canadians, I feel like a lot of us order a lot of things online, whether that's rifles, optics, mounts, textile gear, clothing, boots, backpacks. Like, we don't have a lot of shops that carry the specialized things that we like, as Canadian backcountry hunters. And that's just one room that's going to have everything, all the latest and greatest, all the old tried and true. I did. It's super cool to see. Super cool.
And then when you get into even, I'd like to say also to add on to that, outside of even the hunting realm and just as an outdoorsman, if you're into backcountry hiking or camping or trips or anything, you're talking there's pack raft companies there's dehydrated food companies there's artists there's all kinds of stuff. I was just talking to a guy today about it, and he said, well, my wife's not really into hunting, and it's like, well, there's a lot of other stuff going on there also. If nothing else, if you just like to go to the casino and play your luck, there's a lot of amazing raffles there where you can win thousands of dollars of gear for $20, $30, $50. So if nothing else, come gamble. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but
yeah, you're allowed to say it for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And we do have a insane lineup this year of raffles for sure. So, can't really share those yet because we haven't published them, but, we do have our best yet ever. So, very, very cool. So yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. And can't wait. Gents, what are we missing? What do we anything else we want to touch on before we sign off here? But man, I'm so fucking fired up now, man. I can't wait for the show.
I think it's awesome. I think, and Nolan said this, it is insane when you look at how much the society itself, but then what you guys provide now for that expo has changed in the last 4 years, 5 years. It is unbelievable. Like, if you came prior to COVID, and whatever your opinion is of wild sheep, try it again. Like, it's pretty incredible, and it's such an amazing community for everybody. I was just talking to this person I was talking to this morning about it. It's been so welcoming to us as not just as a company, but also as people within it. You guys make it so easy for companies to give back and do more. I almost wish you guys were worse, so then, we wouldn't feel so obligated to keep trying to do more. But you guys are so good that we just Christ, we got to do more. So it's, you guys do such a great job.
And to that point, I guess, Tanner, we do feel an obligation. Like, we have so much support, and this community has done so much for conservation. Like, we feel like, I know our board, I feel personally, I know that, like, the people that I work around, we feel we have a responsibility. Like, we cannot let this community down because everyone's doing their part. The thing is you could do, like, you can have like your rich guy that gives money, or you can have people doing some conservation work on the ground, or you can have all these little pieces. But like, if you don't have the members and you don't have like the donors and you don't have the vendors and the supporters, if any one of those pieces goes away, then it all starts to crumble, and then they get nothing, right? So like, I feel like I know every day I wake up and I'm like, shit, man, like, we got to get after it because we've got a responsibility. Our members expect this, and they're doing their part. Like, the thing is, our members show up. They show up with their time. They volunteer for sheep counts. They drive 6 hours to the frickin' Fraser to count sheep. They show up. They set things up. They do all kinds of stuff. They're involved. They go to the trade shows. They represent. They go and they talk to government. They talk about advocacy issues on behalf of wild sheep and conservation issues and beyond. There's so much that so many people are doing, and we have a responsibility. We all do. And that's the thing is, it's, I wish our members, no, I don't wish, but we have that responsibility to our members because they're doing so freaking much, right? Like, and the thing is if we don't do our part, it gets noticed because they're like, fuck, like we backed you. We gave you our time, talent, and treasure, and backed you, and you guys aren't doing your freaking part. And like, it hurts when someone says, and because we're not perfect, right? There's holes in the armor. It's like you're trying your best every day, but it's like, oh, shit, we kind of missed the mark on this one. Someone gets pissed off at us, and we're like, yeah, we got to do better. And like, we feel it. Like, when we let you guys down, we know it. So I think we feel that same responsibility, and it's cool. Like, it's cool to hear your perspective as an incredible supporter over the years of all you guys have done. And you say, I wish you guys sucked more because, we feel like we have to do our part, and we see it and we recognize it. And, we try and be cognizant and respectful and like recognize that. But there's so many people and companies and organizations and members that are doing so much to support the things we all love. And like, at the heart of it, yeah, it's maybe wild sheep, but it's way bigger than that. It's a community of people that give a shit, man. Like, it's people that really, 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 really care. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think that also comes like, one feeds the other, right?
Right.
Part of the reason the membership is so engaged is because you guys take the ball and run with it. And if you didn't, you wouldn't have that. So it's great to see, but it is one of those things that's like, the membership expects a lot because they give a lot, and they give a lot because you guys do a lot, and then you guys feel the pressure because they're doing this. But it's like, it's just a very good, cohesive relationship. And yeah, I mean, I think you guys got a great thing going, and certainly you, Kyle, have done a fantastic job, since stepping into the position of CEO of really just taking the momentum that was there for years and just finding another gear in it. And it's been super cool to see from the outside.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. It's like, and it's inspiring. Like, and I love it when like Tanner's like, hey, you got a minute? And I'm like, I know there's some good shit coming down. It's like, hey, can we do this? It's like, and others too, right? Like, there's just so many people that are passionate. And it's sure easy to get up in the morning and get fired up about it because there's just so many people doing fucking amazing stuff. And it's the little people. It's like you said, Tanner. It's those people that you don't even know. You'll, like, if you said their name, half the people out there don't even know who they are. But they're like, they get up every day and they're just as passionate as we are. They're just not on a podcast talking about it or whatever, writing in a magazine about it or whatever the case may be. And it's pretty easy to get excited when you're surrounded by people doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, you guys got me fucking fired up. I was like, yeah, that's cool. So we want to see it at the show. Again, the main one we wanted to talk about today was the RAM Awards and about the Sleuth Conservation Mountain Hunting Expo. Of course, we got the two shows. We got the Sleuth Conservation Mountain Hunting Expo and the RAM Awards, all in Penticton, February 26th, 27th, 28th. It's all on our website. Go to wildsheepsociety.com. Click on the Sleuth Conservation. It's all there. RAM Awards, all of it. There's links to how to get your rams entered into the competition, all that sort of stuff. We have the Northern Fundraiser. Again, you guys do so much to support that up there. The Friday night is sponsored by Frontiersman Gear as well. We got a great night. backpack races, all kinds of fun times. And then, of course, we have the Friday night banquet, and it's a great time. You guys are going to have another booth up there again this year. So, again, this is a great opportunity. So if you're in northern BC or northern Alberta, come over, check it out. It's in Dawson Creek, and the dates this year are January 30th and 31st. The fun night's on the 30th. Bit of a smaller event, and then we have our big blowout Saturday night. Things start early afternoon. We got a bunch of cool stuff lined up. We got the government there. I think Mike Bridger is going to be doing horn aging, so that's super cool to get Mike up there. And then he's going to, again, it sounds like he's going to be doing Penticton as well. And just two great events. Would love to see you there. And again, wildsheepsociety.com. So, yeah, hopefully we see everyone out. And just as we all know, those events sell out, right? So don't screw around and think, oh, we'll see what it looks like in the new year. I wouldn't wait because, yeah, they do sell out. And registration is strong this year. We still have spots, but I think the Northern last year sold out about a week before, and the Salutes Conservation was about 2 weeks before. But don't sit there and think you'll get tickets later because they might not be there. So awesome, boys. I can't thank the both of you enough for everything you do for conservation, certainly for the society and just our community. Appreciate you.
I'm just looking forward to the day where we have a Sunday morning saline drip IV station outside the hotel. Because, as the years go on, it gets harder.
That's not a bad idea, actually, hey? There's probably... do you guys know any Canadian companies that provide that service? Maybe it's a great way to...
They have them here in Vancouver. They have
really?
IV bars. It's a thing.
100% we should be doing that in the event hall. At least for the vendors when we got to tear down the next morning.
How about a Frontiersman gear?
That's a solid call. If anyone's listening and they know anyone in that space, let us know. We'll bring you out. It's a great way to highlight your product, and it'd be well used on Sunday morning after the event. So awesome, boys. Okay, appreciate you all, and thanks so much.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Kyle.